Hello, ladies. Welcome. I'm going to open this up so that everyone can start joining, and we will get started in about 5 minutes. Yay! So fun to see you guys arrive. During this training, we're going to be utilizing the chat box. So let's start by telling me if you can hear me okay and you can see me okay. I'll open up the chat box, and you are more than welcome to use the chat box throughout this training to ask questions. Okay, beautiful. Thanks, Brianna. You're amazing. Thank you, Simone. Oh, this is so fun seeing you guys here. I am so excited for this training. You guys, I shared in my group, but it's kind of funny because webinars are something that's kind of been an edge for me, which is crazy because in my Facebook group, I love live trainings. And so I want you to know that as I challenge you throughout this training to take your own visible leaps and to take courage in getting more visible online, it doesn't end, right? I think it gets easier. I'm going to talk more about that too, how I think that first burst in your business before you're really gaining traction with clients, I actually think it's the hardest phase because you're having to just move forward on like kind of faith and fumes that like this thing is going to lift off. But you are still always learning and growing. So thank you for being here with me. Okay, I am going to, that's when I'm on and it's getting hard. So let me know in the chat box if that's you, if you're at a space where you're not consistently signing clients every month, you don't have that base income coming in. This is definitely who it's for. I think you can benefit even if you're at a place where you're consistently enrolling clients. But I think this training is definitely geared towards people that are looking to really gain traction at the beginning. It's because you take different steps in different phases of your business, right? And I think the last thing I want you to do is do more advanced strategies when you're at the start because you're going to burn out, right? For example, let's start mentioning the things, right? Like Facebook ads, right? All those leverage things you should not put pressure on yourself to do at the start. Okay, does everyone have their tea and coffee? We'll wait about 3 more minutes till we're gonna start. And so feel free to make sure you have a notebook with you and a pen because I'm gonna be asking you to take some notes. And after, I'm gonna share the 5 steps with you, but after every single step, let me move this too. After, let's see, after every single step, I'm gonna ask you to take notes on what your action is going to be. Spotlight video. Okay, beautiful. I think I spotlighted myself. So hopefully people watching the replay will be able to see the right thing. Okay, I'm gonna finish up some details and I will be back in about 2 minutes. Make sure that you have your, Helen says she has her tea. If you're drinking something, let me know what you guys are drinking. I'm so boring. Guess what I'm drinking? It's green tea, you guys. All day, every day. I feel like I need to get out of the rut. Starbucks, I drink green tea. Something. Water. That's awesome. Okay, I will be back in just a minute. Okay, while we're getting set up, I'm gonna attempt to share my screen and I think you should be able to see me in the corner. Let's find out. Sarah says her kiddos are by her side. That is so awesome. It might, my preschooler is coming home from preschool, so it may get noisy around here, but for any of you that are my clients on here, you know that sometimes there's background noise, right? Okay. Beautiful. Okay, can you guys see my screen? And can you also see my face? Beautiful. Make sure that this is big enough. Perfect. Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Priya, is that how you say your name? That's beautiful. Can you see my whole computer desktop, or can you just see the slides? Because I'm afraid that if I do okay, if I do this though, share. If I do the whole thing, I don't think I'll be able to see your chat box. Okay, well, let's compromise. Let's go back and forth. So let's go ahead and get started. It's about 4 minutes after the hour, so this is perfect. Let me keep this small for a second so I can see the chat box for a few more minutes. Hi guys, thank you for being here. So this is probably one of the more value-packed trainings that I've done. So give yourself permission to take a deep breath and know that all of this does not have to be implemented overnight, right? I'm gonna walk you through which steps you need to take first. But that's what it is like in the online space, right? There's plenty of information, but really it's about figuring out what your next best steps are, right? So I would love for you to walk away from this training with maybe 1 or 2, 3 steps that you need to move yourself forward. And not feel like you have to implement every single one of these things. But what I've done in this training that I've never really done in a training before is I've kind of given you a complete picture. I've kind of given you a complete picture from start to front when you're at that front end space in your business of gaining momentum, how to really succeed in the online business world and sign clients. The reason I wanted to do this is, as you know, I have a 6-week program called Visible Impact, and this is basically a lot of what I teach. And so I wanted to give you the option to kind of get a little snippet, some broad strokes of what I actually teach in the program, and then you can decide, do you want to go out and implement it and execute? Awesome, right? Like we all have different values in our business, and so you get to choose what you do with the information. But if at the end you decide, you know what, I actually do want Anna's support as I walk this out, I would love to tell you more about how I do that. So let's get started. And even though I can't see the chat box, I want you to use it during this training. Okay, let's make my screen big so you can see everything. And let's start with, so today I'm going to cover the 5 steps that you can take to get visible and land clients in your business. So these are the things I'm going to cover. We're going to talk about the 4 steps of the engagement funnel. It's really how you show up in your content so that you're attracting the right clients online. And the good news about this, you guys, is when you think about how you show up in your real life, you actually show up in these 4 ways. But a lot of times when we get online, we forget how to show up like ourselves. So I've kind of created a framework to teach you how to show up more like yourself online. And we're gonna cover that. I'm also gonna go over the specific 5 strategies that are my favorite when it comes to landing clients and making sales online. Because I hear women all the time say, oh, I need to show up and give value before I sell. But the thing is, when you're picking strategies that are value driven, right? Like for example, right now, right? I'm going to tell you about my paid program, but I'm also going to give you a ton of information, right? When you're selling with value and you're inviting, I really feel like you can sell in your business very, very early on. And so there's a million strategies you can use online, but I've picked my 5 favorite ones just practically to share with you so that in case you're anything like me, you kind of have a roadmap to start with. Because ultimately, I believe, you know, we need to use our intuition and be aligned, etc. But honestly, I don't know if you're like me, but at the start of my business, I was so overwhelmed, so discouraged, so like, oh my gosh, I need to make this thing happen, right? I was pregnant with my 2nd child. I needed ideas, right? And I needed someone to say, hey, here's some ideas. Which one works for you the best, right? So that's why I really like to coach my clients in the purest sense, but also strategize and give ideas. So today I'm going to give you 5 super practical ideas that you can look at and say, oh my gosh, I would love to do that one, right? Doesn't mean that you have to go and execute all 5 strategies. We're also going to take decision fatigue out of the picture. So it's exactly what I was talking about before. Decision fatigue is when it's a scientifically studied and proven that every decision you make, when you make decisions in life, you're at the grocery store picking out food. Every decision you make, you're actually worse at making decisions because you get tired at every decision you make, right? That's why by the end of the trip at the grocery store, you're just like, oh, I'll just pick this one, right? Because we're tired. And in your business, you don't want to get tired. And so what I want to help do in this training is kind of give you some practical tips and tools so that you know exactly what to do moving forward instead of worrying about all the things, right? Instead of feeling like you have to be on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and LinkedIn, right? Not a doable strategy to do everything all at once. Too spread thin. And at the end, I've created some margin to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, I'll be here to answer them. And I'm also offering an exclusive bonus for anyone that signs on to Visible Impact, the 6-week program that I'm leading. And I'm only offering it to you guys who are live here on the training. And then, I'm going to share about the program itself too. So again, if you're in your business, you already have momentum and you're consistently landing clients and you're looking to like scale past 6 figures and leverage, this is not the training for you, okay? This is a training if you're feeling like you need to get in a flow of consistently landing clients. Maybe you've never landed a client before. Maybe you have, but you really have not built up your base income. At that stage in your business, I think it's most important to really establish that groundwork and that foundation. So if you're feeling uncertain about your messaging, you don't have a clear way for people to work with you and pay you money, your to-do list is just like going on to like 5 and 6 pages, and you're ready for a clear path forward, this is definitely what this training is going to help you with. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story, and let's see, let me stop sharing my screen because I feel like I want to see your faces. So I started at the end of 2015, was that year it was? I think it was. And I'm a therapist by training, among other things. Raise your hand if you're like multi-passionate in here and you like, yeah, I love seeing those hands, and you just love all sorts of things and have had lots of experiences. That was me to a T, okay? I was able to teach for my alma mater a psychology course. I was trained as a therapist. I oversaw our residence life program at the university. Yes, biologist, teacher, Spanish. I love it, right? And so I was at a point though where my husband encouraged me because I was like, okay, what's next, right? And so I started using my skills as a therapist, and I started kind of teaching that offline and offline, right? So I just did this little workshop. This is like photos of like some of my first stuff I did virtually and in person of how can I use my skills and abilities and influence more people and honestly have freedom. Because at the time, I guess not at the start, but I had my son, was having my daughter, and I knew that like, if you think about like, Nikki Ellis Brown calls it the divine breadcrumbs, right? But as you look back in your life, you start to see a theme, right? And my guess is if you're here on this training with me right now, you know you're meant to help people in a greater capacity, right? But not sacrificing what matters to you, right? Like not sacrificing your family and your health. And usually my clients, I mean, they have different goals, but a lot of them tend to want online businesses, not necessarily to travel the world, but in order to be more present with their family, with their partner, with their kids, right? And really being able to make the most of their own life, but not compromising on the impact they were called to make, right? And really feeling like, I know I'm called to show up online and help people in a really service-based way, but without like putting my own dreams at jeopardy, right? So this was like the start to my journey. And the very first, I always love to show this, the very first online challenge that I ran, and you guys don't take, this is so bad, but when I ran this online challenge, I actually didn't have a core offer. Don't do it that way, you guys. But I mean, I was just taking action, right? And so even though I'm saying, I'm going to tell you it's important that you have a way for people to pay you in your business, at the end of the day, you've got to be visible and you've got to take action, right? Like that's what my program is about, right? Really taking action and letting that bring you to clarity. Because you guys, where I got stuck so hard at the start of my business is I don't know. Can you see me too and see my screen? Hopefully you're not having to stare at one thing the whole time. I really got stuck at the start of my business around, lost my train of thought, getting clarity. And what kept me in action for about 3 months at the start of my business is I didn't feel clear. and I didn't feel confident. And I felt like I need complete clarity in order to take action, right? And the problem with that, though, is often the action is what gives you clarity, right? You do a challenge and then you decide, hey, this worked great or it didn't work great, right? You pick an ideal client and it works or it doesn't work, right? You throw out an offer. You see what I'm saying? And so often women get stuck paralyzed in, I want to wait. And for me, it was, I don't want to pick the wrong thing. I don't want to pick the wrong business. I don't want to pick the wrong ideal client. So I'm going to wait till I get clear in order to take action. And I didn't want to waste time, but what I did is I wasted a lot of time being stuck, right? Do you see that? So I think it's a combination, right? It's a combination of taking action and also getting clarity. Okay, tangent. Let's keep going. So what I want you to do is I want you to do a brief exercise either on your piece of paper or in the chat box if you are open to us seeing it and me reading it. Why are you here? Like, why are you here today? And why do you want to build an online business? And just write the first thing that comes to mind, right? Don't feel like you have to filter it, or maybe that's selfish, or give yourself permission to get really clear on what it is. More time with your kids, flexibility, yes. And I don't think it's bad to have that drive you, because I trust that if you're watching this training, you're a heart-centered person, you're someone of integrity, right? You're someone that is going to serve your clients or already does above and beyond. So you've got to trust that part of you. And when I started off online, I didn't trust that piece of me. And it's so crazy, but when I was a life coach and I sold my first group coaching program, as those PayPal invoices were coming in my inbox, it's crazy, but it didn't feel good to me. It felt like I told my husband, I feel like a scam artist. I feel like I'm stealing from people, even though I was charging way less than my daytime therapy rates, right? But I think as heart-centered women, a lot of times we struggle with charging money online, right? And trusting that piece of us. And so I want you to really be rooted in trust that you can, whatever you wrote as your why, that you can let that drive you, and that however you serve in your online business, no matter what ideal clients you pick, no matter what price point you pick, all those details, just get rooted in the fact that you are going to show up and serve in integrity. Because ask yourself, in my life, do I have a track record of showing up with integrity? And in times when I haven't shown up in integrity, have I fixed it? Let me know in the chat box below if that's you. If you're someone that shows up with integrity, and in your life, when you notice that something's out of alignment or off, you're intentional to fix it. I want you to be bold and claim that, because I think that is really what helped me take off in many ways and step out in that uncertainty, right? Principle over profit. I love that. Okay, let me read some of these. I have a message to share greater than what I can do locally one-on-one. Powerful. I know, isn't the internet a crazy place? And that's the other thing. I think I had serious stranger danger at first. I don't know all these people online, and that's so funny. It's so funny because my Facebook group was 15 people at the time, right? But I think a lot of that was just mental and mindset, because now that my group is huge, I don't struggle with that at all anymore. Okay, let's keep booking through. Okay, so let's get to the 5 steps. So what I'm first going to do, let me share my screen with you again, big. I'm first just going to go through the 5 steps as an overview, and then I'm going to go through them one by one. Hopefully you can see this. Okay, so let's go through the 5 steps to getting visible online and connecting with those clients. So the first one is a clear message. Let me know in the chat box if you participated in our messaging challenge last week. You probably got some traction on clear messaging, but honestly, it wasn't till I got support from a coach that I was able to really feel grounded in, yes, this is my message, at least for now, right? So a clear enough message, right? It's not going to be perfect. A compelling offer that serves your clients and supports you, right? So an offer that really is getting your clients results, but also fits within the freedom lifestyle that you're desiring. Number 3 is heart-centered intentions. This is basically my version of goals, so that you make sure that you are motivated to reach them, right? So basically, I'll go into what this looks like in the training. Captivating content so that you can connect on a consistent basis with your audience. and value-driven strategy, right? So again, those are the sales strategies that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to share 5 of them, but making sure that they align with your heart, because if they're feeling off to you, don't do them. You guys, I've had coaches in my life recommend different strategies to me, and I've been like, doesn't match with me, don't want to do it. So I didn't. Same thing with, like, in this training right now, I'm your coach, right? So as I'm recommending strategies to you, if one of them doesn't align, forget it. Do the ones that do align, but I'm still going to give you ideas. And then last bonus, there's really 6 tips, but I felt like it should be 5. And it's more of an overarching mindset piece, right? Cultivate that confidence, because without confidence, all of this is going to be so much harder. Okay, so I'm going to go through them one by one. Are you ready? So first, we're going to talk about a clear message for your business. I talked about this a little bit at the start. What held me back from a clear message was indecision. Didn't want to pick the wrong message. Inaction. I felt like I couldn't take a single move until my message was perfect. And I felt like maybe if I shifted, like if I put out a message and then I shift it, that's going to make me look flaky, right? Then I'm going to be not independable. What's the word? I'm going to be, I don't know, flaky, And then last was inconsistency, right? And so in many ways, I was putting out one message and then my offer was having a different message than my free stuff, right? And my group. So I'm not talking about shifting your message overall, but when someone goes to your Facebook group, when someone goes to your website, your message should be consistent on all of those places, right? So this is what you need. These are the 3 things that you need. And I'm going to ask you to identify which one you want to focus on today to have a clear message. So first, there's the internal message. And if you did the challenge this week, you know what I'm talking about. This last week, I mean. Basically, your internal message is probably what you see in all the freebies online, right? Who you are, what you call yourself, who you help, your target audience. This is the piece that most people stop at when they have a message. It is important for you to know those 6 elements, because I call that your mini business plan, right? You need to know with certainty, at least for this next season, for the next 90 days, who you're focusing on serving, what results you get them. All of that is important, but you cannot leave out your external message, okay? Now, how this is different, your internal message is for you. That's your business plan. It's how you're consistent with your message across everything you do, but the external message is a marketing piece, right? So this is what you're going to be sharing with your pre-clients that haven't worked with you yet. And the reason that these are different is you don't want to overwhelm people with all the information. Basically, your external message focuses on the transformation that you offer. And then the last piece is, once you have your internal and external message, you need to be committed to that message for 90 days, period, right? Giving yourself space and permission to get clear on 1 and 2. But once you are saying, you know what, I'm clear enough. It's not perfect, but it's what I'm feeling grounded in. And I'm going to take action for 90 days. Then at the end of 90 days, I'm going to assess and say, okay, how's that working? But what I did at the start, you guys, is I wasn't committed for 90 days. And so I was putting a lot of my energy into, maybe I need to shift my target audience. Maybe I need to change my title. Maybe I need to, and that does not help you get any traction. And honestly, it was when I took that 90-day commitment in my own business that I started seeing results on like day 20, day 30, right? But the reason I want you to be committed to day 90 is I need none of your energy to go into second guessing, right? None of your energy to go into shifting, all of your energy into fierce action forward. Okay, so let's pause for a second, and I'm going to ask you to put in the chat box where you need to focus in when it comes to your messaging. So you have 3 options. Either your internal message, that's where you need to start. Your external message, if you already kind of have a grounding of what you do, who you serve, and if you have both of those, then I encourage you to take the 90-day commitment. Fierce forward action, I love that. External. Beautiful. I would love for every one of you in this training to get clear on where it is with messaging, right? Is it your internal? Is it your external message? Or is it that commitment to forward movement? And I'll tell you what, I was just sharing you guys with my mastermind ladies this morning, the mastermind that I lead, that in each season of my business, and honestly, as you up level and as you leverage your business, you actually have to return to this and get even clearer. So you might as well start practicing now, right? Because the more leveraged your offers are, right, the more hands-off it is, the more passive it is, the more specific of a person it needs to be for. So I go through this in my business probably at least every half year. Get in that habit. Okay, let's move on to step 2. Okay, number 2 is a compelling offer. So my question for you is, do you have an offer in your business that A, is clear and visible, and B, you're excited about? If one of these things is off, you need to focus on creating an offer. And this is an affirmation I want you to sink into. So take a minute, put your hand on your heart, and take a deep breath with me. And I want you to say this. It's safe for me to be open for business. Let's say it one more time. It's safe for me to be open for business. Because if you don't have a clear way for people to pay you, you are not open for business. And I have made the same mistake before. At the start of my business, I remember being braver about posting about my offer, and I had did a little Facebook post about it, and someone PM'd me and was like, "Oh, Anna, that's so cool. I didn't know people could, I could actually work with you in a paid capacity." Yikes, right? Don't do what I did. And it's safe for you to be open for business, my friend. It's safe for you to be really bold and straightforward about what you offer and trust that integrity piece, right? Trust that you're going to sell in a way that really serves your audience. Okay, so these are the 5 things I want you to think through when it comes to creating a compelling offer, okay? So you want to define the outcome. So this comes back to the people in the room that are multi-passionate. With your offer, you could probably create 30 different offers. So do it, but only tell your audience about one, right? So allow yourself to brainstorm, but when you think about the different outcomes you can help people with, pick one that's of high intensity, right? What is the problem that people are either coming to you already for, and that you can help them with? Okay, so really defining that outcome, making sure it's effective. This is where you get into the nuts and bolts, right? How many sessions, or what's that package, right? If you are a VA, if you are a graphic designer, what does your package look like? And is it effective? Is it delivering results for those clients? Number 3 is it powerful in the marketing, right? Even if your product or offer is so good, if you're not marketing it well, no one's going to be coming in and signing in with you and being able to benefit from your powerful work. And I believe as heart-centered women, we need to step it up when it comes to our marketing, right? Because I think there's all sorts of scammy people out there having super sexy marketing, and then on the other end of it, they're not living up to their word, right? But I know you, and I know if you're tuning into my message, you are going to deliver, right? You are going to show up for your clients. Therefore, it's of service to really market yourself well. Okay, I also put fulfilling. If you're not feeling fulfilled and fueled by your work, right? I get that it's still work, right? It's work. But if you're not feeling fulfilled by your work, shift your package. And then last, even though I said don't leverage your time yet, I do want you to have leveraging in the back of your head. Ask yourself, as I evolve, how am I going to leverage this? Am I going to raise my prices and have more of a premium offer? Am I going to turn this into, this framework into a course? What is it going to look like someday to leverage this offer? Okay, so my question for you is, when it comes to your offer, what is next? This is where you're going to talk to me in the chat box again and tell me, do you need to create a fresh offer? Do you need to update your offer? Or do you have an offer and is it super awesome and you just need to share it? You just need to get super brave and talk about it more and be direct and let people know, hey, again, it's not forcing people to work with you, but it's saying, hey, if you want to work with me, I would love to work with you. And this is exactly how. Click on this link, do this thing, right? So in the chat box, let me know one of those words. Commit. Are you going to create? Are you going to update? Or are you going to share? Beautiful. So good. Share. A lot of sharing, you guys, which that makes me so happy, right? Because at the end of the day, we've got to accept that our offer is good enough, and we've got to get excited about it again and communicate the value of our work, right? Okay. Okay, next we're going to talk about heart-centered intentions. And so we're going to keep this really simple. Basically, what it means is At least for me, when I have like a huge income goal, it's a little bit ambiguous and not super motivating. But as soon as I turn it into a human goal, it is so powerful. So what I want you to do is ask yourself, how many humans do I want to reach with my work? This is the shortcut. Okay, so it needs to match with your income goal. So I want you to get clear on these two things. We'll go back. Your time, how much time you want to be spending in your business each month or each week. And then also your income goal, okay? So basically, I want you to do the math and ask yourself, so for example, for this program, I'm running Visible Impact. It's gonna have 10 women in it. It's 6 weeks long. And so I did the math, right? And I decided, okay, with these 10 women, each of them are gonna bring in this much income, right? I crunched the numbers to know how much income that was gonna make me, on top of the one-on-one client work I do, right? And I was able to say, that feels really good and really exciting. And so now, ever since I did that, I haven't thought about the money. And you guys, if you're anything like me, that is super motivating just to be able to say, I need to find these 10 women to serve, right? Maybe for you, it's 2 people. It's 2 humans. And you know that, again, you can increase your income goal over time, but you know, I want to work with these 2 women, these 2 people, if you work with, different genders, but asking yourself, what's my human-centered goal, okay? And that may take some time to decide, but what I want you to do is write these 2 questions down for yourself to reflect on. How much time do I have in my business? How much income do I want to make in my business? And don't overthink it, And remember too, I think at the start I felt bad having like a really big income goal, but remember it's a business, right? So the amount of money you bring in is not the amount of money you're taking home, right? You have business expenses, you're paying your taxes. And as a heart-centered woman, like, you deserve to be supported in your business. Okay, beautiful. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so next we're going to talk about captivating content. And we can talk about content all sorts of ways, but what I want to do is keep it simple, because I'm assuming you're at a place in your business where you're working to pick up momentum. And yes, it's good to, as you guys know, I created, when I was having my daughter, 6 months of content in advance. That's good to do, but when you're working on gaining momentum, that is an overwhelming strategy. What I want you to ask yourself today is, are you showing up in these 4 ways to engage your audience and encourage them to work with you in a paid capacity? Okay, so these are the 4 different levels. And again, these are things you probably do in your everyday life, right? Number 1, engage. When you meet someone at a coffee shop, you don't flood them with your expertise. You ask them a question for engagement, right? You say, hey, how are you? What do you do? Do you have any kids, right? I don't, maybe you would ask your age, but you engage, right? And so I want you to think about this and ask yourself, is this a way that I show up naturally? And if it is, then this could be a really good strategy for you in your content. So let's start at the top. I'm going to go through each of these. Level 1 is engagement. So starting the conversation. I see so many women online with their social media platforms not being intentional about having a conversation with their audience. And you guys, the crazy thing is, this is the easiest one. It's the easiest once you wrap your head around it. But I want you to give yourself permission to ask simple questions to your tribe. Again, this is all in context of what you're selling, right? But if you notice in my group, I do a lot of this, right? Like, what's your biggest visibility block? Just getting that conversation started. Next 2 is authority. And so your audience needs to trust that you know what you're talking about. Not that you're perfect, because you're not. I'm not perfect. But really giving your audience, your clients, your pre-clients, results in advance, right? Like, for example, the challenge I did. The challenge members didn't pay me a dime, right? But I was able to give them significant results in advance. And so this is where in your content, you're able to show up as the expert. Maybe it's as simple as a tip post, right? You say, a lot of my clients struggle with this. This is the number 1 tip I have for XYZ, right? And if someone reads your post and they actually implement that tip, they're going to get results in advance, right? That's you showing up as the generous expert. Also showing up with authenticity. So it's not enough to show up as the teacher, because there's a million teachers out there, but it's important that you're showing your heart, because, and this is hard for me too, because my guess is that your friends and family know you're trustworthy, right? They know that you're a person of integrity, the people online that you're reaching out to don't know this, right? And this sounds crazy, but you need to develop trust with them, right? And so part of how you do this is you share authentically who you are, and you show up consistently, and you share your story, right? And it also, in showing your story, a lot of that shows your clients what's possible for them. And then last is inviting, right? Being really intentional and direct in inviting your pre-clients to work with you and letting them know you would love to work with them in a paid capacity. And again, it's like not being attached to this, right? Like some people aren't going to work with you in a paid capacity, and that is totally fine. But knowing your value, being able to articulate those results, and inviting your clients with your content. And the cool thing, you guys, is if you follow this funnel and if you show up in your content in all 4 of these ways, the results are that you really have dream fit clients. Because you guys, I show up as me in my content. I offend some people along the way, but the cool thing is those people probably weren't a great fit for working with me, right? And what I want to do is show up really authentically in my external content. That way, when someone's working with me, there's no surprises, right? I'm not a big swearer, but if you are a big swearer, I would recommend you do some swearing in your external content, right? That way, by the time someone's working with you in a paid capacity, they're not like, what, right? So you get dream fit clients. The sales conversations are so much easier because you're showing up authentically and vulnerably first. Your dropout rate is going to be super low, again, because people know you, they know what they're getting, and they're kind of just experiencing the real you in advance. And then the cool thing is you really have a sustainable business where people are referring you, and just people are delighted by your work and want to tell others about it. So your turn to talk again. When it comes to these 4 pieces, ask yourself this week, we can't be all the things all the time, right? But when it comes to your content, how do you need to show up a little more like, right? Maybe it's a written post, maybe it's an email to your list, maybe it's a Facebook Live, maybe it's an Instagram post. Which of these ways do you need to show up with this week? Do you need to engage them? Do you need to start the conversation and just listen and ask questions? Do you need to teach and give a tip? Do you need to share a vulnerable story, right? Or do you need to be direct and invite? Put this down. So put in the chat box what it is. Maybe you can put 2 maybe, but don't put more than 2, right? Put 2 types of content that you need to show up with in your business. Sharing your story, beautiful questions, and inviting. And what's cool too is even when I was promoting this training, I was asking myself, okay, how haven't I been showing up, right? And last Friday when I sent that email just sharing my story around this training, I was like, you know what? I haven't really been super like sharing my story and honest lately. Not intentionally, you guys. But I think we're naturally prone to one of these, right? Okay, let's do this. Tell me in the chat box if you're more prone to the authority piece teaching, or if you're more prone to the authenticity piece naturally. And that's cool, right? Like it's cool that one of those comes naturally, but it's like leaning into the other one as your growth area and edge, right? Beautiful. Okay, we're going to dive into the 5 sales strategies. So this is practically how you can invite people to work with you without like feeling like you're giving value at the same time, right? So I just did one last week. I did a challenge on messaging, and I love online challenges. You guys, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, what you're doing is you're walking your clients through results in advance, right? You're oozing with value, but it would be a mistake to do a challenge without letting them know, hey, if you resonated with this, continue to work with me in this capacity, right? So an online challenge is a great one. A powerful post. So whether it's to your email list, post it on your blog, on social media, doing a really compelling written piece. And you guys, you know how I just asked you to identify which of those 4 pieces you need to work on, or even specifically with the authority and authenticity, whatever is your edge, like if you're really good at showing up with authority, but you haven't really told your story or shared honestly lately, that's probably going to be your powerful post right there. Or vice versa. If you're really good at just showing up and being vulnerable, if you show up, bam, as the teacher, here's these 3 tips to try, that's probably your powerful post right there, in conjunction with inviting people to work with you, right? Like, hey, here's this information. Here's how you continue to get results. Next is a live training, and I think these can be super powerful. And again, whether it's on social media or like this on more of a platform like Zoom, doing a live training can be so powerful because you are, again, teaching people and giving tons of value, but you're letting them know if, again, information, there's so much information out there, but they're getting to know how you deliver the information because that's what's going to get them the transformation, right? I don't know about you, but what I'm concerned about when it comes to my clients is not how much they know, but how much they're implementing and what results they're getting, right? And so it's the same for you. With a live training, you're able to let your clients, your potential clients, get to know you in a new capacity so they can identify, not only do I need this info, but I need her to teach it, right? I need her to walk this through with me. Next is one-on-one connection. And so really getting into a flow with sales conversations, you guys. And depending on where you're at in your business, you can do different strategies, free mini strategy sessions, scholarship work, pure discovery calls. But it's really getting into a good flow with you guys, because even as you leverage your time, right? Even as you have a signature course, right? Sales calls are so powerful as you raise your prices and as you do higher ticket things, because what it's doing is it's generously offering those potential humans that opportunity to really feel out if your work is for them, right? And vice versa, if they are a client that you resonate with and have that capacity to help. Because I hope that if you're on the phone with someone and you're realizing, you know what, I actually can't help this person, or, what they're struggling with is not what I serve people with, you can tell them, right? So that one-on-one connection is a great way to do that. And then last is tracking and follow-up, you guys. And this is where people, especially heart-centered women, really forget to be intentional when it comes to sales strategy, right? Being really intentional about writing down. I have a client tracker that I use and a system that helps me keep track of who my current clients are, who my past clients are, who potential clients are. And I used to feel super icky about this. Like, why do I have to write them down? And then I realized, you guys, I actually track in my personal life, right? I write down birthdays on my calendar. When my friend goes in for a medical intervention, I'm writing it on my calendar, so I make sure to check in with her and text her on the day of her procedure, right? It's not unheart-centered to be able to keep track of who we're keeping in touch with, especially people that you've done a discovery call with, someone that is, maybe you wrote a powerful post or an email and they wrote back this 5-paragraph response, right? Because they're resonating with your work. Being able to keep in touch with those people is powerful and imperative and a great heart-centered sales strategy. So let's pause the screen. Let me know in the chat box which of these most resonates with you. Maybe it's multiple, but let me go back to this so you can actually see my screen. Which of these are you feeling just kind of nudged to? Maybe it's one that you've done. Maybe it's one that you've never tried before. But I would love you to identify in the chat box which of these, one or two, that you're feeling like, I could do that. I could show up and sell using that strategy. That feels like it aligns with me, right? Beautiful, powerful post. That's awesome. All of them, I know. And you can do all of them, but honestly, I would not recommend doing all of them at once, right? Because it's like each one is going to take time to develop a system around. And so honestly, I would just maybe start with 2 max. And if you're in a space in your business where you've signed clients before, but you're maybe up-leveling your price, maybe you're up-leveling or changing your target audience, or you're narrowing, it's almost like you're starting from scratch again, and I'm going to share some of the women that I walked through this method with have had successful and profitable businesses, but as they were getting ready to scale up, you kind of have to go through this again. So no matter where you're at, I really feel like it's important that you're not spreading yourself thin when it comes to sales strategies. Trust me on this one, right? Okay, beautiful. And then I know I said 5, but there's 6 because there's mindset, right? Okay, so let's talk briefly about mindset. I need them all. You guys, you have to pick one or 2. Okay, so the last one, my tip for you is just cultivating that confidence, you guys. And I know that can be hard, but this is what I have struggled with and what I see a lot of my clients struggle with. So I want you to just take a deep breath. give yourself permission, and either in the chat box or that feels too vulnerable on your piece of paper, write down some of the confidence blocks that come up for you. Here's some that have come up for me. I'm not clear enough. I'm not qualified enough. I guess I shifted here. And to reminders, like I didn't want to take the leap. I wanted to wait in order to get support. I felt like there wasn't a perfect time, and I felt like I had to do it alone. I wouldn't have explicitly said this, but I was really stuck in this mindset thing of, I've got to figure it out. I've got to do it alone. I've got to make a ton of money in my business before I invest. And you guys, in my path, I honestly have invested really incrementally, right? So I've made like bitty investments, and as I've made more money, I've made bigger investments. So I'm not here to tell you how to invest. Ultimately, you've got to trust your heart and your intuition. But I think we forget that support is all around us, right? There's support at different levels and different price points. Also, there are people and peers that you can reach out to for free, right? And so realize that you can get to this place of a healthy mindset no matter where you're at in your business, right? I would love to hear, if you guys are feeling brave, in the chat box, what blocks come up for you in your business? What is really getting in the way of your confidence? And again, it was huge for me asking, even though I went to school and got my master's in counseling, I was asking myself, am I qualified to coach, right? Or one of my clients who does high level branding packages, it was really hard for her because she was self-taught. And so she was like, am I qualified to brand these big businesses and organizations, right? So no matter how qualified we are, I think we all struggle with some of these. Beautiful. So I'm going to summarize the 5 things again. Get back to present. Clear message, compelling offer, heart-centered intentions, captivating content, value-driven sales strategies, and confidence. Okay, so I simplified these. And take a moment to ask yourself, which of these do I need to focus on first, right? Because as you've been pacing with me in this training, you've identified an action on each of these. Which of these comes first? And I've kind of put these in order. So if you don't know where to start at the start, right? Start at that message. Once you have a message, you've got to have your business doors open and have a way for people to pay you, right? Once you have a way for people to pay you, you've got to have some clear goals that feel good. Again, going on down, right? But I would love for you in the chat box.
Put your Adidas on. They're dry now.
Where you need to focus on.
Yeah, I touched them. Or maybe because my hand.
Okay. Make sure everyone.
Can you
take a second too to make sure you guys are muted. I'm sorry. I should have made sure that everyone was live. Let's see.
Is this live? Yeah.
Manage participants.
It's live? Yeah. Did you want other socks, my love? Did you want other socks?
Okay. These are good.
Okay.
That much. Are you live at the store?
Not
I know how to.
Not live.
Why not?
You can do videos to post it later on your website.
Okay.
There's no platform.
On my screen, it looks like everyone's muted. Here, let me see.
No, there is. It's on YouTube. There's a live on YouTube.
Yeah, but not this one. Can you not grab my phone every minute?
Here we go. Done. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Okay. So I would love for you guys to put, you guys can still see me, in the chat box, which of these 5 steps, hopefully I didn't end this. Which of these 5 steps you guys are at? Let me present. Beautiful. So of these 5 steps, get really clear on where you need to focus, because again, you cannot do all of these things at once. That's overwhelming. But get clear on, after this training, which is the one that you need to focus on next in your business. So this is my opinion of what you need really to succeed online. Yes, you need information. I just gave you a ton of strategy and really the inside scoop of the broader strokes of what I teach and how I help women get visible online and land clients. So you need strategy that's proven to work and that's heart-centered so that you actually do it. But in my opinion, you also need support that's personal, right? Because so much comes up for us in our business along the way, in addition to that mindset work, right? Not just the strategy, but also mindset, so that you, as the fears and as the stress is coming up, you're able to push through it and get visible and find momentum in your business. So super excited to tell you guys about Visible Impact. It's a group program that I actually ran last September for the first time. And as I've worked in the past 2 years with one-on-one clients in getting clients, I started seeing some themes. And so that was my first time really working it out in a 6-week format, because I realized not all people can work with me at a high level capacity, right? In a 6-month mentorship. And so I took the best nuggets that I've learned from working with women and put it into a concise program so that it could be affordable for people at the start of their business. Because often at the start of your business, I think what can be helpful is getting strategies, but for where you're at, right? Specifically for what you're struggling with. And again, this is a program for women that are at that place where they're looking to consistently sign clients. So I want to go over the 6 weeks and what we cover in the program. So before the program starts, we get clear on messaging. Just in case you missed the challenge last week, before the program starts, I open up our private Facebook group a little early and we workshop your messaging, right? Your internal message, your 2 external messages, and get you really clear so that by the time we start the program, you're not questioning, right? And honestly, like I said, for me to get clear on my message, I had to get support, right? I gave you all the worksheets for free in the challenge, but I tried worksheets when I was at the spot in my business, and it was really those mindset blocks that held me back. And so that's why we start off Visible Impact, working through those blocks and getting you so clear on your message so that we can hit the ground running. So week 1 is those heart-centered intentions, and we do that with a 6-week business plan. I have a template for you that you use, and you get really clear. Literally, you calendar out the next 6 weeks and get clear on your intentions, your income and client reach goals, and we reverse engineer your big dreams, right? And so when we think, yes, it's a 6-week program, but I want you to think big picture. What do you want to accomplish in the next year, in the next 5 years? And how can we make the next 6 weeks work towards that, right? Because I think it's a mistake to not think about the big picture, because we want to make sure these next 6 weeks fit within that and build momentum towards it, right? It's like these little 6-week building blocks that build out towards that big future. Next is your core offer. So we want to make sure that that core offer that you have, whether you're creating it for the first time, whether you're adjusting it, it feels so aligned, right? Because when you show up and when you sell it, people are going to tell. That makes a huge difference if you're feeling confident, right? So really looking at some practical things like the formatting to make sure that we maximize your revenue, maximize the time you're spending in your business, and looking at how you're marketing it, right? Really looking at the outcome and making sure you're picking the core offer that best showcases the work that you can deliver to your clients. Week 3, we do a visible leap, not leak, no leaking. Basically, this is my excuse for taking the week off for you guys, right? We're still there to show up. We still do a group call, but it's time to take some action. And if you're continually getting new information, there's no mental space to take action. So all I'm doing that week is supporting you as individuals around what's your leap, right? What's the intent? What's that action that's actually going to make a difference in my business? And you're going to feel supported doing it. So we do that on week 3 and week 6. Obviously, we're taking leaps and visibility actions the whole time, but specifically, we're pausing and getting visible, right? And again, like this program doesn't demand a lot of time, but it probably, I mean, if you're able to spend at least 3 to 5 hours a week in your business, then this could be a good fit for you, right? And so you don't have a lot of time. And so you need to be intentional about the leaps you're taking. So that's why we're going to identify 1 leap for you to take that week, right? Not 17. Next is captivating content. So looking at that engagement funnel and making sure that you're able to show up in all those ways. And so the cool thing about our private group is it's a safe space, right? Like you can post your drafts for us, right? You can do a Facebook Live and practice, right? And maybe you do Facebook Lives, but they're not converting very well for you and you're not able to really sell in a way that's working. And so you're able to do them and I can give you feedback in there. Your sisters can give you supportive feedback, right? So it's really a safe space to refine your content and make it more powerful And of course, we also cover planning and repurposing your content too. Week 5 is just those sales strategies that are powerful. And so I already went over those 5 things, the 5 different things that I'm going to teach in depth. But what I do is I give you the power, like I give you tools that you can actually use to implement it, right? So I give you a challenge checklist. I give you some prompts to kind of spur you on to write those super soul-soaked posts, right? Or like I said, you have that safe space to practice live trainings. I give you call templates for free sessions, for mini sessions, for discovery call sessions, right? And also for tracking and following up, I have a spreadsheet system I'm going to teach you. So again, it's these things, but I'm able to actually walk them through with you so that you can apply them and actually start seeing results in your business. Another Visible Leap week so that you can take action with where you're at. And again, all of you are going to have different visibility leaps, but you're going to be courageously taking them at the same time so you can kind of report back and be like, hey guys, I was terrified, but guess what I did, right? I sent an email to my list. And then as a bonus tip, right, is a toolkit that I designed for you. It's a self-care plan and 5 worksheets. And when you register for the program, you get immediate access to this so that you're able to really boost your confidence even before we get started. And when I have women do these exercises, they start seeing strategic results in their business from doing this internal work. Why? Because when you're confident, you're able to, yes, I'm happy to give you strategies and ideas, but honestly, the best strategies and ideas are going to come from you, right? And so that's why I created this toolkit to help you get clear and get confident in your work. Okay, so what's included in this program? So like I said, I cap it at 10 women because I'm very high touch and hands-on with this program, even though it's a group program. And so it's going to be 10 women. It comes with 6 private group calls every week, so you get personal support from me. And these are super interactive calls where you can ask questions that are on your heart and get coaching on an area maybe that you're feeling stuck in. Comes with a training library, so there'll be worksheets and resources that I'll give you so that you have the tools and templates as you're walking this out. And then our private space so that you can practice and you can get private feedback from me too. So this course is $849, which is an amazing value, you guys. For the women that were in it the first round, they just got rave results, and really, I just got so much positive feedback around just the level of support and sisterhood they were able to receive in that little snip of time in their business, right? So this may not be for you if you're at a space where you're, I mean, we all have different seasons in our business, right? But if you're really busy and you're like, I can't really work in my business in the next 6 weeks, if you don't have at least 3 to 5 hours, this is a program that you're only going to get results in if you show up and if you're able to be present. But if you are, you guys, this is a great deal and a great way to build momentum in your business. I also have an option that I've added since last time, and some women do want some one-on-one support. So if you want to add 3 one-on-one support calls, then you can add that on to Visible Impact. So you get everything that comes with the program, but 3 one-on-one sessions for $2,000. And we're able to meet at the start, at the middle, and at the end so that my eyes can personally be on your business and help you get more of those results quicker. Okay, and I'm so excited about this. So if you are on the training with me live here and you're like, Anna, I'm in, like, I know this is for me. If you're here live on the training, then I'm going to give at least the next 3 of you. So I've already have some people signed up for Visible Impact. So I'm going to, obviously, if you're already signed up for the program, you're going to get this bonus. But I have margin for 3 more women, not everyone, but 3 more women from this training to get a 30-minute messaging intensive so that you can feel really good as you go through the program, right? So that's you and I meeting for 30 minutes. I'm going to send you a pre-session assessment. You know, if you've done any of the message worksheets, you can send those to me and we can kind of do some pre-assessing, but really getting clear and confident on that message. Because you guys, at the start of my business, that's where honestly I needed the one-on-one support, right? I needed the help. And so if this is for you and you're feeling not only drawn to these strategies, but you know that you need a mentor to support you in the next 6 weeks to gain some momentum, I'm super excited to offer that to you guys. 2 spaces left. I actually have 3 spaces left. So hopefully this is going to play. So this is Hannah, and she was in Visible Impact last round. I just asked her this weekend. She was on a trip, but she was so excited to do this for you guys. This was what she said about Visible Impact. And she said, in Visible Impact, I was blown away by the mix of practical steps and knowing exactly what to do in my business each week. Not only was it amazing to get personalized help, but I learned so much by listening to Anna work with the other group members. I feel like I got 6 times the amount of support. So hopefully, let's see if you can hear this.
Hello everyone, my name is Hannah Parker and I am a thyroid nutrition coach at Holistic Thyroid Solutions.
Let me put it like this so I can see your chat box as you do it. Boop, 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 boop. Could you guys hear, as I was playing that, could you hear this a little? Oh, good, chat box. Yes, okay. Let's see if it works. I had a few of these women do these, so I can send you guys links after too. Let's see.
Hello everyone, my name is Hannah Parker and I am a thyroid nutrition coach at holisticthyroidsolutions.com. I'm on the way to a vacation, so I'm in the car. My husband's driving. I'm sorry, it's kind of bumpy and loud, but I just wanted to share a little bit. If you are on the fence of joining Visible Impact, I wanted to share a little bit about my experience with that and celebrate some of the things that happened for that group. So I could share several stories. It was very formative 6 weeks for my business and building community with the other members of the group. But one of the things that sticks out to me is I remember when we were all setting goals for the 6 weeks together. We were supposed to bring them and share them with everyone. And I had kind of like a spectrum of goals. I had some small goals that were smaller for me, and then I had some bigger goals that kind of scared me. And I remember sharing the goals with the group, and the one that scared me was starting a group thyroid program. So I'd only done one-on-one services up until that point. I remember when I shared it, everyone was like, "It's so obvious that you should do that one," because I was excited about it, and it was a little bit out of my comfort zone. And so anyway, I did it, and I would not have done it had I not had the support of the group. And even since then, I get messages asking me when I'm going to run the program again, and just so many great things that have come from that. And just learning from the creativity of the other people in the group and getting ideas, it's just been so powerful. So if you are on the fence, I hope that you will consider it. It really helped me turn a corner in my business that I wouldn't have had I not been part of it.
If you guys know Hannah, she's amazing. You can find out more about her too at hannahparkerhealth.com. Let's see, I have one more word too. So this is Trish, and Trish says, when I joined Visible Impact, I was one of those crossroads where you can either continue doing what you're doing, or if you're anything like me, you need something to change, and drastically. Within the program, I made all the pivots I needed to, and they were big pivots. My family is happier and we're more connected, right? So really, this is a program if you're in a place where you're like, I'm ready for the momentum to pick up, right? Last round, I had several women that were like midstream in their businesses, but ready to make some shifts and pivots to up level. But I would say this is especially a good program if you're at the start and you're getting momentum for the first time, right? And you're working to continually, you're in a season of your business where you're ready to take action and you're ready to sign clients right now. Okay. So let's do the Q&A. So start popping any questions you have for me. But I wanted to share, I feel like really what helped me succeed at the start of my business the most was taking action even before I was clear, right? Investing as it felt aligned. So investing in my business at a pace that felt good for me. Only you will know if this program and this investment feels exciting and abundant, right? Or if it feels like, oh, that would put me so tight that I would be paralyzed, right? And I think I started showing up like the clients I wanted to attract, right? Like I started showing up more decisive and willing to invest in my business, willing to invest in that change that I desired. Okay, beautiful. Oh, this got cut off. Oh, well. Okay, so now I would love to share my screen. Stop sharing my screen, and I would love to answer any questions that are coming up for you around these five steps that I teach. And also, if you have any questions on Visible Impact, let me put the links for you really quick. So what I want you to do, it is an application only program. So I'm going to put the link that shares about the program. But if you want to claim one of these 30-minute sessions, what you can do is you can put a deposit down, $100 deposit. There's my deposit link. So put down a $100 deposit, and then you can take your time. Let me move that over there. And then you can take your time. Let me head in my screen, stop sharing. Then you can take your time applying, right? Because the application will probably take at least 15 minutes, because it's to help me make sure that you're going to benefit from this program, right? If you're at a place or stage in your business where this program isn't a good fit, I'm going to tell you, right? I'm going to tell you, you know what, try this or do this thing or think about this, coach. So what I want you to do, if you're interested and you really resonate with this and you're feeling excited and energized for the next 6 weeks, pay that $100 deposit, and I will message you and let you know that you've got one of those 3 one-on-one spaces, that bonus space. And then on that Google Doc, there's a link for the application. So take some time today or tomorrow to fill out that application. The doors close, you guys, for this program. We're getting started on Wednesday, right? Our first session isn't till next Monday, but we're getting started, right? I kind of like opening the doors to my programs a little early so that you can get to know each other, because you guys, the relationships you form in my programs are substantial. Since I am selective about only bringing the people that are the best fit into the program, you'll notice, you look around and you'll be like, all these women are kind of like me, right? In the sense that we share values, we share struggles. Like when we're on the group call, you're going to be like, is she reading my mail? Like how does she know, right? Like how does she, like, that's what I'm struggling with too, right? So awesome. So I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so there's no rush to fill out the application, but oh yes, the program starts on Wednesday. So we're starting off, and I am so excited for this group of women. What questions do you guys have for me? And if you'd like to, let me open my thing. Feel free to raise your hand in the chat box too if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask any questions that are coming forward. How often does this program open? That is a good question. So the last time I ran it was in September. It's funny, in some ways I plan way advance in my business, in other ways I don't. My best guess is that I might run it again next September, but I'm not really sure. And I don't know if it'll be in the same capacity. In its capacity, it is it's a super high touch, high level support program. So I don't know if I'm going to run it this way again or more like a course. But my best guess is September would be the next iteration of this. Is the program specifically for coaches and consultants? I have a service-based business, but it's a mobile strategy app designed for clients. I have a course and other projects that a traditional coach would offer, but some of the other work is different. Yes, I definitely support people. I would say online-based is huge. And then women that have at least some service-based component that's not, their income isn't primarily affiliate income. They're not affiliating for someone, and it's not an MLM. Some of my clients also are a part of an MLM and offer a service-based business, but I do have coaches. I do have people beyond coaches. But I would say definitely MLM is multi-level marketing, which there is nothing wrong with an MLM. But I would say that my zone is working with people that are serving and selling something that they're specifically offering, right? They're selling something that they've created. And so Megan, I would say, oh, Megan, how are you doing? I recognize your name. I would say as long as it's something that you have created and that you own, right? And as you were watching this presentation, if these were strategies that you resonate, basically what I've taught in here is a broad stroke version of what I teach in the program, right? So there's no surprises, right? If you are resonating with how I'm coaching you now and you're resonating with what I taught in this training, you will get a ton from Visible Impact. But if you were watching this and you were like, not really resonating for whatever reason, then you probably wouldn't resonate in the program too. Does that make sense? Beautiful. Yeah, so the program starts, and our programs, our first group call is next Monday. Our group calls are at 3 p.m. PST, but they are recorded. So you are allowed to ask questions in advance, and then you're able to watch the replays too. I record all of those. The amount is $849 without a payment plan, or if you want to do a payment plan, then it's $899 total for the 6-week program. And usually I say 6-week program, but again, there's a little bit before, I usually leave it a little open after, but the really focused part is 6 weeks long. Beautiful. Simone, the payment plan is basically spread out in 4 equal payments over like 8 weeks. So after you apply and I send you the link of the official registration page, you'll be able to see the option between the payment plan and the pay in full version. Beautiful. So good. Thank you. You know, you guys, I'm just going to be honest. Like, I think I told you this in my email too, but it's so crazy because, I mean, there are not even a ton of you on here right now, right? There's 20. And I do live streams in my group all the time with more than 20 people. But you guys, in visibility, there's always an edge, right? And so it's like, I don't know. For me, webinar type trainings have been an edge for me, but I feel like it's just something that I've had to lean into. And I told you guys this in the email, but I was at a point last week where I'm like, you know, I'm having to try new visibility strategies as I'm growing and expanding and as I have more aggressive income goals. But I'm asking myself, how can I still show up like me, right? How can I still be heart-centered? And so this is just an edge that I'm working on and practicing, right? What does it look like to show? And that's probably how it's going to feel for you, even in these 5 strategies that I have mastered that maybe you haven't, right? Maybe you're still feeling shaky on Facebook Live, right? But it's going to feel like, this feels like an edge, right? This feels like a growth area for me. Okay, beautiful. And thank you so much for you guys for being here. I hope this was helpful. And again, it's so funny because I told myself, okay, I'm not gonna let this stress me out. I'm just gonna show up without slides. I'm just gonna hang out and do my thing like I do in my Facebook group. But as soon as I released that, you guys, and this, let's say then the slides came to me and I literally did the slide deck in like 3 hours, right? Which sounds crazy, but it's like, maybe that's the same thing for you. Maybe you decide, you know what? I'm gonna do a challenge. And actually I've done a challenge, but I'm gonna actually do a challenge that converts. You know, I'm gonna intend to sign 10 new clients from this challenge, right? It's going to feel like a growth area and you might need to let go of some things in order to do that challenge, right? What's a challenge? It can be as simple as you having a post a day in your group. It doesn't have to be videos, doesn't have to be worksheets, right? So maybe it just means releasing all the things that you feel like it needs to be. And then my guess is you're going to be inspired with the things that are actually going to get you results, right? You're going to be like, oh, this post is so juicy. I think I need a worksheet to add to it, right? This was so good. I kind of want to go live and expand on it, right? But no matter what strategy you pick, by releasing the pressure and the shoulds, right? I really feel like that clarity comes back to you. But I do still feel like it's helpful, especially at the start, to have ideas, right? Ideas and tips and strategies and tools. And so that is why I provide that. Beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna head out, but feel free to PM me or email me if you have any questions. I'm gonna put the links one more time. So this is the link to check out the program, all of the details and what we go over week by week. And then also here's the deposit link if you want to save your space, and then feel free to take your time filling out that application. And I find too that women, as they're filling out the application, I got feedback that even filling out the application was powerful, because I think a lot of my power as a coach is the type of questions that I ask. And so you're able to really process and say, oh, this is what I want, right? Like this, you know, I do want to make this amount of income, or I do want to show up this way in my business in the next 6 weeks, right? Beautiful. Okay, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. I will see you in my big Facebook community. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.